we're going to see what happens. And submission-wise, he just showed that he has no submissions. Like, he has no submission defense. He has no submissions. Yeah, no defense. Nothing. And like, he hasn't trained any jiu-jitsu. None.
Yeah.
Like, very rarely works his wrestling. He's a good wrestler. But he just mitts, kickboxing. That's it. Like, he just likes to spar. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, no jiu-jitsu. No jiu-jitsu class. He's like, not even a white belt class. Who will be the 155-pound champion in the UFC next year? If you were to take the top 10 guys now, who do you think at the end of next year, who's going to be the champion?
Well, if Khabib fights again, he's the champion because he's still the champion right now. And if he fights again, he's going to win the championship. So I would say Khabib, but we'll say that he's out. He's not going to fight. So now it's an open title, and you have Conor and Dustin, and then you have Oliveira, and who am I missing?
Hooker.
That's right at the top there. Dan Hooker.
You got Chandler.
Gaethje, Chandler.
Paul Felder.
Yeah. It's going to be the winner of, Poirier and McGregor is going to be the guy you're looking at holding that title.
No, but I'm saying by the end of next year, who do you think?
Yeah, but at the end of the next year, you're looking, okay, so they would fight one more time. If you take Dustin Poirier and you put him against Dan Hooker, who wins? Well, I would say Poirier. He just beat him, right? So then you take Poirier and you put him against Oliveira. Who wins? I'm going to think Poirier.
You think so?
I think it's close.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough fight. I'm not saying that Oliveira can't beat him, but I'm going to probably say, and it's power-wise, I think Dustin's got more pop on his shots, and that can cause Oliveira some problems. Ground game-wise, they're both good. I think Oliveira's more dynamic with his submissions, comes up in crazier positions where he's able to, do things with submissions, but it's a close fight, but I'd probably go with Poirier.
Yeah. So
then I go to Felder. Poirier. I go to Chandler. Now becomes a question of styles. And there's a possibility Chandler could beat Poirier, but there's definitely the shot that Poirier beats Chandler.
Mm-hmm.
So then I go to, we'll say McGregor wins it. All right. Do I see Dan Hooker beating McGregor? I don't. Okay. And then I go to Oliveira beating McGregor. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And I could be wrong, but I think McGregor wins that one. Then I go to Chandler and McGregor. I don't. I think McGregor wins it. I think Chandler would have a hard time getting him to the ground. He's going to eat a lot of shots and he takes damage. That's matchup wise. The way Conor throws things, I think that's going to be a tough fight. So I'm looking, and those are the two guys that I say, which one's going to be at the end of the year. I think it's Conor. How's that?
I think so. I think you're kind of in the right area there.
Okay. Wow.
I think you're in the right area.
I went all through that for you to go, I think you're in the right area.
The dark horse, I really feel like the dark horse in this whole thing is not knowing where Chandler place is in this place. That's the hard part now, to see where he's going to end up, who he's going to fight, how well he does against that fighter, and who they're going to put him against for his first fight. I think now, after the dominant performance by Oliveira, it seems like he's getting better and better every time.
If you're Oliveira, do you want to take that fight?
I don't think you really have a choice here in the UFC. They're gonna.
Yeah, well, that's true.
That's the point.
That could be. You might not have a choice.
Yeah, I really believe that now that he's ranked number 3, and you have, outside of fighting Justin Gaethje, which I think is a good fight for Chandler. I think Chandler fighting Justin Gaethje, showing the wrestling, I think that's a good fight for Chandler.
So do I.
I think he has a hard time with Oliveira. I think he can wrestle him, he can do all those things, but Charles is good on the ground. I mean, we saw that against Tony. We've seen it several times. He's got the most submissions, I think, in the UFC, correct?
He'd be up there.
Yeah, he's up there. I think he's got the most submissions in the UFC. I mean, he's so damn good on the ground. And I'm not saying, like you said, Chandler's never been submitted, but it doesn't mean it can't happen.
No,
he'll fight out all those positions. But when you have someone who's as good and technical as Charles Oliveira is on the ground, it's going to make for a hard fight for Michael Chandler on top. And one thing Chandler does is he gets tired is if he's being forced to work. We've seen it with the Brent Primus fight. We've seen it with some other fights as well. he tends to get tired if you're making him work. Even when he's on top, he tends to get tired. And if you're staying active and busy from the bottom, he's going to get tired. And on the feet, he just throws with so much power and speed and that he tends to get tired on the feet. And on the feet, Oliveira being as long and lanky as he is, he's going to eat him up. He'll eat Chandler up on the feet as Chandler gets tired. As this is a 5-round fight, which I would imagine it's going to be a 5-round fight. You're not paying Michael Chandler that amount of money to be a fucking prelim fight. So it's going to be a main event probably, which will be a 5-round fight.
Should be.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. I think Chandler's the dark horse. I think Charles Oliveira now also too has kind of put himself in that position of like, okay, we didn't see you coming last year. We didn't put you in this position. Last year, I didn't see him being in the top 3. And now here he is at number 3. So when I look at this, I think Gaethje's going to always be in that mix, but I think people now, after seeing how easily Khabib was able to dominate the wrestling and how he took him down, that I think people are going to try to wrestle him more. They're going to try to wrestle Justin Gaethje more. And we're going to see what happens. And submission-wise, he just showed that he has no submissions. Like, he has no submission defense. He has no submissions. Yeah, no defense. Nothing. And everyone I had talked before this, too, I talked before the Khabib fight, people were hitting me up and saying, like, yeah, I've trained with Justin. That he hasn't trained any jiu-jitsu. None. Yeah. Like, very rarely works his wrestling. He's a good wrestler. But he just mitts, kickboxing, that's it. Like, he just likes to spar. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, no jiu-jitsu. No jiu-jitsu class. He's like, not even a white belt class. Like, nothing. And I'm like, all right. So that kind of puts you in the position of like guys that can wrestle, like Michael Chandler. If he gets you down, I think he's gonna dominate that fight.
He'll maul you.
Yeah, he'll maul you. He'll maul you for sure. I would say Conor will probably be the champion based on the fact that he's the moneymaker. And the UFC, if Khabib's not gonna be there, they need someone to take his place that can bring in revenue. And it's gonna be Conor McGregor. And that's a business decision. That has nothing to do with whether he can. I think you are correct though, and I've said this. Outside of Khabib, I think Conor beats all of them. I think he's the best fighter out of all of them. It does make it interesting. I'm excited to see the Poirier fight between him and Conor again, to see how they have changed since then. I think Poirier is now more mature. He's not going to let anything Conor says and does will not get under his skin. He will fight a smarter fight. Yep. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. Yeah. No, sorry. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. I don't. You're just talking levels of athleticism and technique, and Dustin's fabulous. He's a phenomenal fighter. I just think Conor's a step above on the feet, and in the wrestling area, I don't think Dustin wants to waste too much energy. I think Dustin has the edge for sure on the grappling. I don't think
grappling, I would give Dustin, but to get it to the ground,
does he want to waste that amount of energy to get it there? I don't know.
Rough.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard for him. So, I think Dan Hooker is gonna probably make a splash. He may be up in that talk in there, but I don't know if he'll be champion at the end of the year. But I think it's going to be Conor McGregor at the end of the year because business decision. But I think Dustin, Charles Oliveira, and Chandler are going to be in that conversation by the end of next year.
Yeah,
by the end.
I agree.
All right, my man. Well, we did the 55s. What do you think? 70. I think Gilbert Burns beats Usman.
That's the question.
I think Gilbert Burns beats him.
If Gilbert doesn't beat him, I don't think anyone beats him. I give Gilbert he's the one guy, because people can sit there and say Colby. I don't think Colby beats Usman now.
Yeah, I don't think Colby's gotten any better. Sure, you've had conditioning, you have cardio, you have wrestling, but you didn't use any of your wrestling against Usman. And not only that, you got tore up on the feet. And I like Colby as a fighter, but
so do I.
I think he hasn't evolved at all since he's been in the UFC. He hasn't evolved. He's just straight wrestling, straight cardio, conditioning, workhorse. I get that, but
he's a workhorse.
Usman's already figured that out. He knows how to beat you now, and he's figured that out. He's got his conditioning under wraps. Guys that are, and then the other thing as well, can Colby beat Gilbert Burns? I don't think he can beat him. I think if he tries to take Gilbert down, Gilbert's going to sub him.
No. He's not going to. Yeah, I just don't. I don't.
And
think
he can't stand with him. I don't think he can stand with him either. I think Gilbert can.
He can stand with him. The big difference is I think Gilbert's got more power.
Yeah.
So it's
Gilbert's
something
faster also.
Yeah.
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 Speed kills.
Gilbert's a lot bigger than people think.
Oh, he's huge. He's fucking huge, man. People don't realize how damn big that guy is. He is so damn big.
His ground game is scary good.
Yeah.
Scary good.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. It's a tough one. I can see Gilbert could definitely submit Usman if the fight ends up on the ground. I think in the stand up it's pretty close.
Where do you stand? Where do you stand in this whole thing with Usman going out to Colorado to train there because they were all at the same camp? Like, where does that leave you? Like what does that tell you about the camp? Is Usman going to come back after? It's kind of a weird feeling, right? Like a weird vibe.
Well, see, here's the whole thing. Usman is not a coach.
Yeah.
There. Gilbert Burns is. So Gilbert's not going anywhere.
Yeah, but all the guys that Usman was training with they're not there anymore. I mean,
that's why he went to Elevation.
It's got to be rough, man. That's as the owner of the gym, Henry Hoof, and those guys, it's got to be a hard decision to make. Like when you guys sat down and said, "Okay, you guys are gonna fight. All right, who's leaving?" Like, what the fuck?
Come on, no. If you think about it, and if you're Henry, I know this is not what you did, Henry, but you're looking, you're going, all right, I know both guys. Which guy do I think is going to win the fight? Yeah, you're going to go. All right, you're going to go out.
Oh man,
sorry.
No, I think with Henry, it's like, hey, I can't teach jiu-jitsu, so you need to stay here.
He's got a business he's got to run, and he's got a coach. That's why I said Gilbert's not going anywhere. He teaches class.
Damn it, that's rough though. That's rough. I mean, but think about all the guys though that they train with that Usman used to train with, and then those guys now are helping Gilbert get ready for the fight. It's an awkward feeling. It's got to be an awkward feeling.
Completely. But that's the fight game.
Yeah.
That's why I say, when people say, "Oh, you should never go," it's like you should go everywhere you can to learn.
Yeah.
I just saw that. I want to say James Gallagher and
he's in Kansas City, isn't he?
Yeah, and Big Daddy Kiefer, I think, was there with a couple of guys from Ireland. SBG went over to Glory, and we're training with James Krause and his guy. And I told you, people talked all the time. I was asked the question, all right, if you're going to take one fighter and that was going to be your coach, I said James Krause. He's outstanding. Yes, he's a competitive fighter now, but he's an outstanding coach. And when he's done fighting, he's just going to be even that much better because he has all that time that he still has to center on his career that he can give to everyone else. He's a damn evil scientist when it comes to breaking fights down now, and he's great at it. And so those guys went there. I guess they loved it, and that's good. And you don't hear anything from John Kavanaugh about, oh, you shouldn't go there. No, go.
Yeah.
If whatever you learn, bring it back.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, man. So